Real quick, the only ask I could ever have of you guys is to help spread the word so we can help more women lose body fat, build muscle, reach their goals, and feel insanely confident. And the only way we can do that is if you rate, review, and share this podcast. So the single thing I ask for you to do is if you could leave a review. It will take you 10 seconds and it will mean the absolute world to me and may change the world of someone else.
You're going to have slips and things like that. You're going to have periods of times when you have these great surges, you're doing great, and then you fall again, and that's okay. The idea, though, is that you keep going and that you learn from it. And that's kind of where I'm kind of at, that with the mindset, right? And really changing that, because mindset happens when you start to see yourself differently and identify yourself differently. And like I'm starting to see myself as a warrior babe.
In the time of Marie being a warrior babe, she's lost up to this point 85 pounds. So she started around 315, 314.
Yeah.
And 85 pounds lost. And guys, I'm going to have Marie elaborate more of her story because it's so amazing coming from her, but she is a busy, and like a whole new emphasis of busy mom of 2 sets of twins, 4 years and younger.
Mm-hmm. My boys are 4, my girls are 2. It's fun.
Guys, so you have been living with the good old I don't have enough time excuse. Let Marie be a new standard for you all. Seriously. So Marie's going to drop some insane value and insight today, as she has done such an incredible job with mentally and physically so far. She's still got a lot of room to go, and she's totally aware of that.
Oh, yeah.
So far up to this point, she's made incredible progress. So she's going to share a lot of value with you guys. So everybody, let's welcome Marie here today. I am so excited to have you.
Thanks, Nikki. I'm super excited to do this because, like I said to you, I was shocked that you asked me. I was like, I'm not ready though. And you point out, I have made a significant amount of progress. So yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about it.
All right, cool, babe. So let's give everybody a little background on you, how old you are, your occupation. And when you guys hear the occupation, you'll be like, she's got 2 sets of twins and she does it. Like, yeah, man, you're really going to re-question your
Yeah. So I am 39. I'll be the big 40 in July. So that's a big milestone. Like you mentioned, I have 2 sets of twins. The boys are 4 and the girls are 2, and that has been complete chaos, but beautiful chaos, as they say. And I am also a full-time psychiatrist, so I am the medical director for my department for my company. So I see patients, and I'm the head of the emergency department for psychiatry and also consultation liaison psychiatry. So it's pretty busy.
Yeah, very, very big.
Yeah.
So give us a rundown on how long you've been in the fitness world.
So it's varied, let's put it that way. So I, grew up playing 3 sports. I played tennis, basketball, softball. That's what I did. So during that time I would lift, I went to practice, things like that, but I was never what I would call like a gym rat or anything like that. I just really enjoyed playing sports. Post-college, then, you have med school, you have residency, you have life, all that stuff. And honestly, my health just went down because I unfortunately had other priorities at the time, and I did not make that a priority for myself. And then I had the twins and everything. And so during that time, I didn't really focus on any sort of exercising. I just wanted the quick fix. If I do my diet, if I clean it up or something like that, the weight will come off or I'll be able to manage it. And so I've tried probably almost everything that they do have under the sun. And it really wasn't until May of last year where one of my husband's good friends that he works with, she is buff. Like, you should see her muscles. Like, we're good friends on Facebook, and she actually follows you. And so that's kind of how I stumbled across Warrior Babe. I'm like, who's this Nikki Stott girl? She looks awesome. And then I discovered, the Warrior Babe community, and that's kind of what happened here. And I got back into fitness, and I remember I really enjoyed lifting when I was doing that for sports. I'm not a big runner. I don't like it, but surprisingly, I'm starting to enjoy jogging a little bit more now. And I've really started to identify myself as somebody who is just not an athlete who just plays sports, but somebody who is into fitness now.
Yeah.
So I got away from it for a really long time, but
So
I'm
the
back.
point of, I love it. So the point of when May 2020 hit last year,
hmm
what were you doing before you found Warrior Baby? You mentioned and touched base on, tried everything under the sun. What were some of the things that you were doing?
Oh, yeah. So largely for the last 15 years of my life, I have dabbled on and off primarily with low carb diets. So Atkins, keto, ideal protein, like name it, that's what I did. And the reason why I did those is because food wasn't really limited. It's just you have to stay away from a certain food. And so if you can stay away from that, you can eat as much of everything that you want to do, everything else. That's going to be a theme for me. You will notice throughout this interview about quantity of food. And so that's kind of why I always gravitated to those things. And I did lose weight temporarily because the moment you shove a carb in your mouth, all of it comes back. And then that's when I would storm eat. And it was just a roller coaster for me, and I couldn't stop. And then I would fall off the wagon, and I'd say, "Yeah." And then a few months later, I would try again. I also tried. Let's see, I did Weight Watchers for a hot couple months because I was like, oh, that's something different. And I did lose weight, but I felt so fluffy. Like I lost the weight, but it wasn't fat. Like a lot of it was muscle. I just was very flabby and not toned, and I really did not enjoy that. So that's what after that I went back to all these higher protein, low carb diets, and found myself up to 316 pounds after having both sets of twins and nursing. So I had to I was eating like 4,000 calories a day just to produce enough milk, for these kids. So I wasn't losing baby weight. Plus I was still gaining weight to nurse these babies. And I, nursed both of them, both sets of twins for a year each. So that's how I found myself where I was. And I couldn't take it anymore.
What was that trigger point? Like were you like, all right, I gotta do something.
I saw a picture of myself because when I look back now and I look at my beginning photos, and nobody ever wants to take those beginning photos because you're like, oh, that's not what I want to look like. And everyone says, you just have to do it because when you compare the progress, you're going to be amazed. And that is true. But I saw a photo of myself that somebody took, and I didn't even recognize that person. I had no idea what I actually looked like. Like I don't have a full length mirror in my house for a reason. And so I would just be looking for myself, from here up all the time. And then I saw this photo and I was like, something has to change. And because I knew, like being a doctor, I know that I am on this road to a life eventually of developing type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure and, all that stuff. And I thought to myself, I was like, well, is my only chance going to be like, do I have bariatric surgery? Is that going to be my only chance? And turns out, no, WarriorBabe was the answer for me. So
share your mug really quick. Share your coffee mug really quick.
Oh, so my nanny got this for me for Christmas. It says, let's see. It says, wake up and be awesome. So as you can tell, for me, coffee is life with the life that I lead. So this coffee mug is quite large, but every day I wake up and I try to be awesome. That's what it comes down to.
Yes, I love it, babe. So yeah, let's talk about your results. What have results? Dive a little bit more in what you've achieved and how you've achieved it, because it has not been easy, and
No.
you have what, 2, 4, 6, 8 little feet running around your home on a daily basis.
Well, 12 if you include our 1-year-old puppy, because we're just a glutton for punishment for some reason.
That's right. You got him in the middle of your.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like a couple months after I joined WarriorBabe, we're like, oh, getting a puppy, why not? But let me tell you something. He's loving the extra cardio that you did give me recently. I'll tell you that.
Awesome.
Yeah, no. Oh gosh, the journey hasn't been easy. In the beginning, just like everything else that I did, you're gung ho, you're motivated. You're like, I got this. And so I joined just the Warrior Babe community. And I only did like the first 2 weeks in the community with in terms of getting those emails, the starter up emails. And those are really motivating for me. I didn't start exercising. I'm like, I'll start the exercises a little bit later after these emails. Because honestly, I was a little scared of it. I'm going to be honest. Like, am I going to be able to do these things? And then, and I was, tracking macros. And so it was after literally just 2 weeks in, they opened up slots for VIP. And one of the things that you had mentioned in your emails was to get an accountability partner. So I found one. And she was like, oh, I think I'm going to, go for VIP. I was like, oh, I was like, am I ready for that? Are they going to take me? Like, that's just kind of, these thoughts are running through my head. And so I was like, yeah, let me check this out. Let me see what it's like. Because Marie, what you've been doing in your life and trying to do it on your own obviously has not been working. So I was like, I kind of need a good kick in the ass. So I thought, let me see, what VIP is about. And I had my first call with Raven, and then I met with you, and I was like, oh, okay, there's a lot of support here. Maybe this is what I need, because I've never done that. I mean, other than going to Weight Watchers meetings, but to me that's a whole nother story. But but I never had that, that other support. And so I started with VIP, and I will never forget those first workouts you gave me. They were all body weight workouts. And I wanted to literally die. Like, no, I really did. My neighbor, I had my neighbor's daughter, who's like 6 years younger than me, but she's in much better shape than me. I had her do them with me, and she was like, "Oh my God!" She's like, "I don't think I'm going to make this." Like, we really wanted to die, but I needed that extra support there to say, "Come on, Marie, let's go and do this," and I did. And as sweaty as I was, and as disgusting as I was afterwards, and as much as I really felt like I'm not going to be able to get up and walk, I still just did it, because at the end of the day, I knew, oh crap, on Sunday, I'm going to have to meet with Nikki and the other women in my group, and they're going to be like, how was your week? So, so, I just kind of did that, stuck with the macros. And in the beginning, it was really easy for me. And I think the first really big bump in the road for mindset for me came in July, when I was like, hey, Nikki, remember those cheat meals everyone's talking about? When do I get one? And you're like, sure, I'll give you one. Why not? And I was shocked that you gave me one, because I was like, oh, okay, let's see how this goes. And you made a comment to me. What's that?
Ask me, you shall receive.
I know. I was like, thank you. And I remember you made a comment to me. You're like, because I was scared, like, because I have this habit of binging and then not getting back on track. And I didn't want that to happen again. And so you said to me, well, let's deal with this now rather than later. I was like, okay, let's try it. So I remember doing that first meal, and it was glorious. It was wonderful. I was like, yes, I remember exactly what I had. I had Japanese hibachi with some sushi, and it was phenomenal. And the next day, because it was a Saturday night, so we had our group call on Sunday. The next day I got up and I went right back on my macros. And what I think really helped me is planning all of that stuff, making sure that I'm logging my food so I don't have to think about it. Because the more I think about food, the more I want to start to cheat or start to slip here, and it just becomes too much of a focus in my forefront. And that's not what I need to do. I kind of just need to go through the motions. And yeah, you put a little bit of thinking in it, but I need to go through the motions and just do, because once I get thinking, forget it. It's all over.
Yeah. Yeah. So many women struggle with that cheat meal. And then the next day it turns into two meals. Like,
Right.
you woke up and you're like, like you had your meal. Now it's back to the game.
Right. So that was a huge win for me, because I remember that was in the middle of July. And just the fact that I was back there and I showed up, to the call in the program and I was right back on track. I'm like, holy crap, I've never done this before, because this normally would turn into like a cheat week.
Yeah.
It didn't. So that was huge. And then still had bumps in the road since then.
Well, yeah, like you lost 85 pounds.
Yep.
But we can even talk a little bit, like the 80 pounds was like in the first eight months.
Yeah.
Yep. And these 2 months, you got COVID, your whole family was sick.
Yep.
But this is what people were like, nope, I'm out. Like, and then they go back to like old habits and everything. Touch base on that, because you had the bumps, but like we're back at it.
Well, you always say progress is not linear, and you are absolutely correct. It's not. It goes up and down and up and down and up and down like this. But the idea is that the average continues in a straight line, and that's the point. And so what I had to do is I had to work a lot on my mindset in terms of that scale. And what does that scale mean? And I mean, for me, because I don't feel like I'm your average warrior babe, because a lot of these women don't have nearly as much weight to lose. And a lot of them are focused on building muscle and things like that. So I don't feel like I'm your average person, but the scale does mean more in my journey because of that. But I can't get too focused on it. So for a long time, what I had to do is I just stepped on Saturdays for my check-in, and that was it. And whatever happened had happened. What I've been working on lately over the past month or so is really, well, Marie, what does that number mean? Does it mean that you're a crappy mom because of that number? No. Does it mean that you're a good doctor or a bad doctor because of it? No. So why does it have so much meaning, to you? And so what I've started to learn to do is I actually weigh myself every day now, because I don't want to be afraid of the scale. And so I use that number to say to myself, oh, hey, that's how this food affected me last night. Or for instance, when I, said this past Sunday in our call, when I was like, oh, well, Nikki, sometimes I, turn post check-ins, cheat meals into like half cheat days.
Honesty came out.
Yes, the honesty came out. I mean, everybody, I think, kind of, when you've been on this journey for so long, stuff like that, does happen. But what I started to do was use the scale to say, Marie, that's how that behavior affected you. You ended up gaining 4.5 pounds. Granted, it's water weight, but you ended up gaining 4.5 pounds the day after you turned your cheat meal to 2 cheat meals, after your check-in. And so typically I would beat myself up about that, but I'm just trying to look at it objectively and say, okay, this is information that I can now use and say the next time when I face my cheat meal on Saturday night and I say, hey, Marie, what happened last week? Oh, you didn't lose as much weight this week because you had the second cheat meal on the same day. And so is that something you want to do? And people are, you're going to have slips and things like that. You're going to have periods of times when you have these great surges, you're doing great, and then you fall again, and that's okay. The idea, though, is that you keep going and that you learn from it. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where I'm kind of at, that with the mindset, right? And really changing that, because mindset happens when you start to see yourself differently and identify yourself differently. And like, I'm starting to see myself as a warrior babe, because to me, I look at you, I'm like, oh, Nikki, look at Nikki. She's amazing. And I'm starting to see myself as, oh, I'm like that too. So
that's so amazing. Yeah. And you are mentally, physically, you're going to get to that goal. I cannot wait. This is Marie 1.0. Wait till we get to Marie 2.0, right? When we lose the next big poundage loss and we're revealing more muscle that you've got underneath from all your athletic years. Like, that's going to be Marie 2.0. And that's going to be another interview. And that's going to be
and then we'll do Marie 3.0.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's after, what comes next after that, but I'm just focusing on this year. When I started, I said, Nikki, I'm going to be realistic. I will dedicate 2 years of my life to you. So that's the journey we're on right now.
That's amazing, babe. I love it. I love it. And you're giving it your all. So I can't wait to see what the end of those tears look like.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. So I know I want to touch base on time. How do you find the time? We're going to edit the pictures of the boys jumping.
Oh, jeez.
Outside in the snow, bundled up, doing cables.
I love the cables, by the way. But anyway, yeah, so time. So one thing that I have learned, so being a mom of 2 sets of twins and having my life, you have to be flexible. If you can't roll with the punches, you're not going to survive. That's what it comes down to. And I mean, my career has helped me with that because that's how my career is. In the emergency department, you never know what's rolling in. You never know what you're going to see. You never know what you're going to get. And so that's just kind of how I feel like I live my life. I have an idea. I have a plan, but those minor details I can't get bogged down in. So one, the meal prepping has really helped me. I do a lot of meal prepping on Sunday, and then usually Wednesday evenings, I'll add some more stuff in, but that's been a huge help for me. And I just put it in big containers and throw it, in the refrigerator. And then I just, take it out the next day because I do work from home. So I don't have to put them in like little packages. But when it comes to my workouts, honestly, 2 days a week, I work in the evenings. So I have my nanny come a couple hours early on those 2 days so I can get my workouts in. And yeah, instead of a gym membership, because I do work out from home, but instead of the gym membership, I'm using that money to pay someone else to be with my kids so I can work out. The other days, because I do workouts 4 days a week, the other days, I have to say, my husband is so incredibly supportive, and that's really what it comes down to. I have such good help around me. He knows that this is what I want to do, and this is my goal, so he's going to make it happen. So oftentimes it'll be after work, and he's home, and he's with the kids. But I incorporate the kids into my workouts pretty much is kind of what
one of the boys, come here, let me press you.
Yeah, well, that's what they do. Well, Andrew, his favorite exercise of all time is burpees. This is from when I started in the beginning when I was doing one of the HIIT sessions. And he's like, Mommy, let's do boy-peas. I'm like, no, I don't want to. Why do you want to do this? But I have small dumbbells for them, and they will lay down next to me and they do the workouts that I'm doing too. And they do crawl on me. And does it make for the perfect workout? No, it absolutely doesn't make for the perfect workout, but I make it work for me. And clearly, if you can get past the whole perfection thing, you're still going to do well and get the results that you want because it's working for me. Working out from home is what I need to do. And I just kind of, I just put it in there. And then for my cardio, I alternate walking and running. I do 1 minute of running, 2 minutes of walking. I bring the dog. That's what I do. So I incorporate my family into working out. And,
it serves you selfishly, like it serves you, but you're having them pick up on your habits. You're helping them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
My boys, around Christmas time decided to draw a picture of our family, like in front of a Christmas tree. So they're drawing it. They're little stick figures, it's cute. And they decided that they wanted like everyone in the family to have like an accessory or something like that. So my husband, I think they gave him like a cell phone, and I can't remember what else it was because my husband always has a cell phone. For me, they put a cup of coffee in one of my hands, and in the other hand, they drew a dumbbell. And I was like, wait, that's how they see me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was like, and I stopped and I'm like, that's how they see me. And I love that. But I loved that because that's how I want to see myself. And I want them to see that because I want to instill those habits with them. And so they're right there along with me. Or, I use my kids' swing set to work out. Like I have my cables and everything that I hook that I hook up out there. And sometimes they're outside playing with me as I'm working out, and, they'll go down the slides, they'll do their thing. My one kid loves playing soccer. And so in between, I'll kick a goal with him. Like, that's just kind of how we do it. I incorporate it in there, and that's how the time happens.
That's so amazing. Like I said at the beginning, like if you guys question that you don't have enough time, take those strategies that Marie just shared with you and put them into place. That's amazing. That's incredible. You're such a role model even for the people that are around you, our group, community, the Warrior Babes, the women that are going to be listening to this. So incredible, babe.
Hey, just want to drop a huge appreciation to you guys listening to the show. It means a lot. I hope you guys are enjoying it, and there's so much more to come with it. If you are enjoying it, hit the subscribe button. I'd appreciate that tons. And also, it would help this podcast reach others who need to hear these messages too. Thanks so much, guys. Let's get back to the show.
Now, I know you're coming from what you were doing previously. You shared about the quantity of food, right? Very minimal. You're cutting out macro groups. So how did you deal with the psychology side of things of eating more to lose weight?
I still am. So for me, when it came to what I had done previously with like the low carbs and stuff like that, I didn't pay attention to how much I was eating. And I probably was eating a hell of a lot more than I should have been, because I would just cut out large groups. For me, the whole playing with my mind was, wait, I eat carbs. I get to eat carbs. How are these carbs going to affect me? I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to blow up. My belly's going to be even bigger than it already is. And so that was the big thing for me. I have always been a volume eater. That's something that I'm still struggling with, and have developed some tricks how to manage with that. But, the whole psychology of you can eat carbs and it is okay is, I literally just had to say, I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to put my trust in you, Nikki, and we will see what happens. Like I told you, I would give you 2 years of my life. I might question every once in a while, but I will believe you, and we'll see what happens. It's like when you gave me that diet break. I had way more carbs and fat, and I'm like, Nikki, don't do this to me. I've come so far, I'm going to gain weight. Nope, totally lost. I was like, what? So I told you, I was like, I will never question you again. I'm like, I'm just going to do what you tell me to do, because what I've been doing for 39 years has not worked. So why would I know any better? That's really what it comes down to.
Amen. A fucking man.
The gospel according to Nikki. That's what it comes down to.
And all the coaches too, because after Marie joined, we've increased our coaching department. There's 10 more coaches now.
Wow.
So it's the whole Warrior Babe Bible, gospel that we preach. It's more food gets you more results. If you're eating the more food and then you lose weight, plateauing is totally 150,000% normal.
Right.
So to break through that, more food.
Well, I sit here, and one of the great things is that we have these groups, and that we meet every Sunday. Like, the women in our group are so supportive. Like I mentioned, I said I don't feel like the average woman that joins Warrior Babe, but they just embraced me with open arms. Like, girl, yeah, you got a lot of fluff on you, but it's okay. Like, it's all right. And they have been such a source of strength and support and inspiration for me. And the fact that, we meet every week, every Sunday with you and the rest of them, that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me coming back. I don't know. It's great.
Our group is so supportive. It's a whole community, from the VIP to the blueprint. There's so much support. It's incredible. Marie is a VIP, so we have that added, one-on-one, or the added group interaction weekly, which is so nice. It sets the tone, man, for the week.
It does.
Yeah, for sure. Marie, what's some advice that you could give whoever, there's tons of women listening to this. What's some advice you could give somebody who's either in your shoes or like was in your shoes and just starting their fitness journey?
So I think for me, what kind of makes my journey a little unique or a little different than other women's is that other women coming in were, oh, I can't eat that much food. Where I'm like, yes, give me all the food that you can because I am a volume eater.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, I struggle with the whole binging. Like oh, look at this, little cookie. I have not in the past been able to have one or two cookies like a normal person. I have to eat like the entire box or half of it. So that's always been a struggle for me, which is why I went to the whole keto and low carb diets because I could eat as much as I wanted to, other than that, but it's not sustainable. This is the first thing that has been sustainable for me. So there was a few things that I had to do. So my first thing was I like to eat at night. At least that's what it was like for me when I first started. And so what I would do is in the beginning, I would kind of hold off with eating in the morning because I was only doing 5 meals a day because I just don't have time to eat 6 times a day. So I would hold off on eating a little bit and then I would be eating regularly after that. So I would still have time for like my late night snack was actually a late night snack. So that was something that was big for me. So I didn't feel like hungry before going to bed or anything like that. So that was one thing that really helped me. Something that I've kind of, have realized recently is for me, when I'm in a cut because your calories are lower and you like eating the 6 times a day, I don't feel satisfied at the end because I'm used to going into a food coma after I eat. So for me, what I do the 5 meals a day typically, and what I do is I end up eating regularly. So I make sure that I'm literally eating every 3.5 hours, and by eating regularly, it gets me into a habit, number one. Number two, I'm not like obsessing over it all the time because, like I said, if I think about the food too much, forget it, it's all over. And then I'm not super hungry, later on in the day. And so, and by having the 5 instead of the 6 meals, I feel more satisfied at the end of my meal rather than being like, oh, that's all I can have. I remember taking a picture of my tiny little pile of rice and sending it to Cheryl, who was eating like 1 billion grams of carbs a day. I'm like, Cheryl, look at this tiny little pile of rice I get. And she's like, there's a few bites there. But then the biggest thing that I've learned is what foods can I incorporate that are going to give me a larger volume so that I can feel like I'm eating more? So instead of just eating my organic brown rice, I mix it with a crap ton of riced cauliflower in addition to my brown rice. So I'm still getting my complex carbs, I'm getting my veggies, which is really good. And my plate looks super full, and I am eating a heck of a lot more when you do something like that. Or for instance, spaghetti squash, that's something because pasta is my one thing that I have still to tackle when it comes to portion control. So I just do the spaghetti squash and I can eat a ton of it. And no, it's not the same as eating noodles, let's be honest. But it's something that when you put, your pasta sauce on top and your meat and, whatever you want to put on there, it tricks my mind enough to be like, okay, you're eating a ton of food, so you are going to be satisfied, and this is a good thing. And I'm still eating clean. Like I used to joke, this is more of a defense mechanism, but I used to say portion control is for communists. And so that tells you my mindset of where it was. And I'm like, haha, that's funny, Marie, but now let's be realistic because portion control is really important. So that is something that I'm working on. And rather than saying to myself, I can't stop eating this, I'm saying, yes, I can. And so I'm trying to incorporate more things into my macros. So like last night, I had a rice cake with some peanut butter, some mini chocolate chips on top, and some strawberries, in addition to like some turkey, I think.
Macros.
Yeah, I mean macros, okay, so I got my turkey with the protein in there, but then I got that. And for me, it's more about mindful eating and slowing down and, just actually enjoying what I'm eating and trying to taste it rather than just inhale everything. And so by eating regularly, by spacing these things out, by making sure that I am satisfied at the end of each meal, that I have, that I'm eating a good volume of it and it's fitting into my macros because of my food choices, that I am incorporating little treats in there. That's what's really been helpful for me. And when my kids are done eating, all those leftover scraps, instead of just mindlessly putting them in my mouth, goes right in the dog dish. That's important.
There you go. Beautiful.
Yep.
Those are some great tips, great starter tips for people. Portion control is so important.
Yeah.
Your mind saying, yes, I can. Like, that's huge. It's a huge part of growing the mindset to work with you, not against you along your journey.
Mm-hmm.
And big valuable tips, babe. Thank you.
Yeah.
So describe what being a WarriorBabe is. Like, what does that mean to you?
So the first word that comes to mind is strong. And so not just physically strong. I mean, obviously that goes without saying, strength, but strong in your mind, having a strong sense of self. I hear a lot of women who, their friends, their family, they're not as fortunate as I am because mine are incredibly supportive. But I hear, a lot of these women, that people will say things to them like, why do you want to look like that? Or why can't you have fun and just eat this like the rest of us? It takes a lot of strength to not give in to that. Peer pressure is a real thing. Like, that's legit. And so I think you have to have a strong sense of self, knowing who you are and where you want to be in life. And then also being able to say no to those people and to stand up to them. And then obviously kicking ass, in the gym or at home with your workouts and, things like that. That's obviously part of being a warrior babe.
Hell yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. When you first saw WarriorBabe, what made you pull the trigger?
Well, I was laying, I remember this, I was in my boys' room putting them to sleep. And so I'm just laying there and they're in their little toddler beds. And because there's two of them, I'm kind of like between them and I have my phone underneath as I'm waiting for them to fall asleep. And so I'm just looking on Facebook. Like I mentioned, my husband's friend who is a physical specimen. So I clicked on her page and then, you came up and I was like, she looks good. Let me see what is this all about? And what made me pull the trigger is that this sounded like something different than what I had done. And the fact that it's individualized, where everything else was just, hey, everybody do the exact same thing. And how is that going to help anybody? I mean, it might work for a little bit, but it's definitely not. You're going to plateau at some point because everyone's body is different. So it's definitely individualized. I liked the idea that this is something that seemed like it could be sustainable, because that has always been my biggest issue. After a few months, it's like, well, what's going to keep you going? Well, you can't avoid an entire food group forever. I mean, I guess some people can. I can't.
That's just be able to do that.
I've clearly failed many times over. So I knew that wasn't the right road for me. And so, so that was something that seemed legit. And then also having the support behind it. And that's what I think is one of the biggest things, hands down, is having the entire community, having you as my coach, having, all of the support on Facebook, and then also, within the calls and everything. And our group is tight knit. We message each other. It's like I feel closer to some of these women than I do to other people that I see on a regular basis. We have a common goal and everyone is just so supportive. And really, those were the biggest things that made me pull the trigger. And I said, you know what, Marie, you have no idea what you're doing. Clearly, you can either go down the road of being incredibly unhealthy and dying young. You could get bariatric surgery, but that's not going to solve your binge eating problem. It's just a temporary fix. Or you can really try to do something. And I never realized how much my mindset would change in this. This is not just a diet and exercise program. Like, this is so much more. Like, I feel like I'm in freaking therapy every week. which is a good thing. Everyone needs therapy.
I know that's what we joke about, or like,
It's
we
true.
don't prescribe just macros and workouts, man. We are like,
Yes.
like we're helping these women believe, like, first of all, break belief systems and believe that what they're doing now is obviously not going to get them to where they need to be. So it's like total rewiring of every mental aspect that comes into dieting and culture, and really getting you out of the way to get you to point B. Right?
Absolutely. And you would think as a psychiatrist, I would know the psychology behind eating and be like, come on, Marie, let's go. You would think that. And now I'm like, well, now I got to believe the crap that I tell, my clients and my patients, I actually have to apply it. And clearly I wasn't ready until now. Previously, my biggest thing was social situations, like before kids and everything, when I sort of had a life. Like going out in social situations, that was really hard for me. And now it just happened to be, I was at a point in my life, mainly because of my family and my children. And I said, something has to change because I need to be there for them later on. And I want to be able to run around and keep up with them. Like I'm running next to my boys as they're riding their bikes now. And I couldn't do that a year ago. No freaking way. And it makes me happy to be able to do that.
That's so amazing, Marie. I love it. Your whole presence inside of our community is amazing, and your progress is just so inspirational.
Thanks. Well, couldn't have done it without you.
We're a good team.
Oh, absolutely. The group, the entire team couldn't have done it without you guys.
Yes. So to close out this interview, which has been so freaking amazing, and you guys took tons and tons of value from what Marie shared, the insight that she shared. Definitely the time management for you guys that say you're busy, all that jazz. Marie has a very busy life, and she's achieving her goals every single day. And there's nothing that's going to stop her until she gets to where she wants to be. And I think it's super incredible that, you had options, like you say, bariatric, you had, or just going down the unhealthy route, but you're like, well, obviously the realistic thing is managing myself, figuring out my habits and making them better. And that when you open up awareness to what you need to fix, you're more likely to fix it rather than hide it, right? And then that's how it's uncomfortable as fuck. We have noticed a lot of uncomfortable moments, but that's what's gotten you to grow and to be where you are right now.
Completely. I will never forget. I tell you this all the time. I will never forget the first time you told people how much I weighed. It's because I broke through the barrier from like 300 into the 200s. And I'm like, holy shit, Nikki just told everyone how much I weighed. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I stopped. I'm like, well, why do you care so much? I'm like, these women don't, no one even flinched, ew, or anything and it's all my worry and my baggage that I'm carrying with it. And nobody else in this community even cared. They were so excited for me. And, this group and this whole program has forced me to be vulnerable, which I did not like. I hate it, but it's what I need. I sit here and just say, yeah, this is me and this is who I am and this is what I'm dealing with, and people accept you for it. And that's the beauty of it, because then you can be open and honest about things, and that's when change really happens.
Yeah. Powerful, babe. All right. To close down this interview, what is your favorite snack and or macro combo?
Oh, my favorites. So that's something snacky, not a meal.
It can be either or.
So this changes for me all the time. So I think, my new kick is what I mentioned that I had last night. So a rice cake with some peanut butter on there. Of course, no sugar added. Little mini chocolate chips with strawberries, and that's the snacky part. And then I buy the Applegate turkey and ham because those are Whole30 compliant. That's something I focus on is Whole Foods and Whole30. So I kind of eat some turkey with that, and that's kind of my new snacky thing that I'm really into right now.
Touch of salt, touch of sweet.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love it. And then what's your favorite muscle group to be worked out?
So Well, my favorite exercise of all time, hip thrust, hands down. I love hip thrust. Give them to me because I want a big old butt, like a big old muscular badunk. Like, give it to me. But I don't love working out glutes all the time. I just love hip thrust. So my favorite body group part to work out, my back. I actually love doing rows and with the cables and everything. I love working out back. Back's my favorite.
Insert photo of Marie outside. I'm going to put that like at least 5 spots throughout this entire video. Bundled up, snow, like what, 5-6 inches of snow, if not more, doing rows.
Listen, you have to make life work. Like, do you think my house is not as clean as I would like it to be? That's what it comes down to. And with 4 little kids, it's not going to happen. Something has to give. And so you roll with the punches. Yeah, it's snowing. I'll put some snow pants on. Like, that's just kind of what you do. Well, I could work out, or I could really sit here and, run after the kids and make sure my house is spotless so that it's going to just be destroyed 5 seconds later. I'm going to work out. And I'm going to teach them to put their toys away. It'll happen one day.
I love it. Awesome, Marie. Well, thank you, babe, so much for being here, sharing insights, sharing value. It's so really appreciated.
Thanks for having me. It was awesome. It was fun.
Yeah. Okay. For those of you guys who watch this interview and want to learn more about WarriorBabe and the programs that we offer, to get started, you guys can check out WarriorBabe.com and be part, like Marie says, the support is so freaking amazing. A part of thousands of women who are getting toned and becoming stronger, more confident versions of themselves. So definitely check out WarriorBabe.com. And Marie, thank you, babe. Again, I appreciate you.
I appreciate all you guys do. And guys, really check it out. You will not regret it, because I definitely don't.
Thank you. And stay tuned for Marie 2.0.
In a year. Right. Give me another year.
Yeah, let's do it. Cool. See you, everyone.
The best way to get in shape for women over 40 is not keto, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, or super intense workouts.
If you're over 40, stop for just 1 second, because you're gonna wanna hear this.
I am 56 years old. In 6 months, I have lost 13 pounds. I have lost 5 inches on my waist. I've lost 5 inches on my hips, and none of my clothes fit me. I have never seen a transformation in my body the way I have with this program.
I actually had 6-pack abs, something I hadn't seen since my early 30s. I had muscle, I was shredded, I felt really good.
I'm no longer afraid of looking in the mirror. Not only had my body started to transform, but my mindset, it was on another level.
All of a sudden I started to drop weight. It was amazing. I went from 174 pounds to now I weigh 154 pounds. I went from a size 14 to a size 8. Like, I have more muscle than I've ever had in my life.
I'm 49 years old. My body fat has dropped 5%. I feel better than I have in a really long time. It's been life-changing.
Thousands of our older clients who are going through menopause and post-menopause are getting amazing results.
The pounds just melted off. Like, I had lost 14 pounds. It's just emotional because it really has honestly changed my life. Amazing.
I feel amazing. I think I look amazing. I have muscles. I never thought that this was going to be my life.
My body just moving all this weight that it hasn't moved in so long. And I'm also seeing like how much energy I have at the gym. I'm like, this is amazing.
No keto, no intermittent fasting, no low fat, no low carb. They failed me just like they fail women everywhere 24/7. These restrictive diets focus on what not to eat. Don't eat that donut. 0 refined carbs. Don't eat beyond your daily 3 smoothies. I'd rather focus on what to eat any day of the week. The exact balance of fats, carbs, and protein for my unique body, opening up food options I can never find in any diet plan. When I made this switch, it fueled my muscles, helping me get lean and toned while eating way more and working out less. And it can do the same for you.
My mind was so blown by the fact that I got to eat more food and still
see results. I'm eating lots of carbs and my strength has gone through the roof.
I couldn't believe in my mind that it was okay to eat carbs. Everything around me, myself, my friends, everything was telling me that carbs were bad.
As a crazy, hectic mom, I'm just looking for balance, and this program allowed me to eat food, lift, which I absolutely love, and exercise in a way that was fueling my body, feeding my muscles, and being able to eat. Gosh, it's a prize.
After working with thousands of Warrior Babes, we have cracked the code on building muscle and losing fat. No strenuous diets or 4-hour-long workouts. Just 4 simple methods that are proven to work.
If you give it your all and you trust the coaches and you are consistent and you do all the things that they're telling you to do, this program is going to work for you. I couldn't be happier with my decision.
Man, I wish I started this earlier.
If you're sitting on the fence, I'm going to tell you right now, get off the fence. It will change your life.
I recommend this program to anyone, to my family, to my friends. I love it. It's not for 4 weeks. It's not for 8 weeks or for 6 months. It's forever.
You know, if you've tried a whole bunch of other things and you just want something that really works, something that you can stick with, and something that's going to be a long-term life, change, then maybe this is for you. I'm loving it.
Hey guys, real quick. If you're interested in taking your body to the next level, lose body fat, build more muscle, feel more confident, do it alongside one of our 30+ professional coaches. Work one-on-one with her to eliminate all of the guesswork that you may have, and all you need to do is just do the work that she tells you to do to get to those goals of yours. Now, to learn more, click the link below this podcast and apply to our VIP program right now.